I wake to a world that offers no reasons. The sun climbs, the sea whispers, men shuffle through their hours. Yet beneath it all, a silence presses hard. Why this? Why me? I've asked it on rooftops, in deserts, at the edge of breaking waves, and found no reply. There is none. Life is absurd, a question without an answer, a play without a script. And yet, here I stand. The absurd is not a curse, it is a mirror. It shows you the gap, the mind that craves meaning, the world that stays mute. I've felt that gap widen, nights staring at stars that do not care, days tracing paths that lead nowhere. Reason falters here, faith falters too. Do you flee it? Do you invent gods to fill it? I refuse both. I face it, raw, unblinking, alive. Life has no purpose handed down from above. No cosmic hand writes your lines. No eternal voice calls your name. I learned this under a sky too vast to comfort, in a silence too deep to bear. And yet, that lack is not despair. It is freedom. If nothing is promised, then all is possible. I am not bound by fate's thread. I weave my own. Death looms, certain as dawn. It will take me, tomorrow, in a decade, in a breath, and leave no echo. I've seen it in the eyes of the condemned, felt it in the pulse of my own fragile frame. Why dread what is? It is not an end to fear, but a truth to meet. I live knowing it comes, and in that knowing, I live harder. Revolt is my answer, not a scream, but a stance. The world says, nothing matters. I say, I will matter anyway. I've walked through streets of ash, through days of dull gray, and chosen to stand tall. Not for reward, not for heaven, but for this. My breath, my step, my fleeting now. The absurd does not crush me. It dares me to rise. Happiness is not a gift, it's a defiance. I've found it in small things. The salt on my lips from the sea, the heat of a stone under noon sun, the laugh of a stranger passing by. The world owes me nothing, yet I take these moments, not as answers, but as acts. To live is to steal joy from the void, to wrest light from the dark. Sisyphus rolls his stone, up, down, forever, and I see myself in him. The hill is steep, the weight is cruel, the end is nowhere. I've pushed my own burdens, griefs that return, labors that fade, and still I climb. Not for victory, but for the push itself. Imagine him smiling as he turns back down. I do. That smile is mine. Beauty does not explain, it simply is. A tree bends in the wind, a wave crashes white, a child's hand reaches out. I've stopped asking why they move me. They do. I've stood on shores and peaks, felt the absurd press close, and let beauty strike anyway. It owes me no meaning. I owe it my gaze. Freedom is not escape, it is presence. I've shed the chains of hope, of gods, of tomorrow's promises. No savior lifts me, no destiny pulls me. I am here, feet on this earth, eyes on this sky, hands empty but mine. The absurd sets me loose, not to drift, but to choose. I choose this day, this fight, this me. The crowd chases shadows, wealth, fame, easy truths. I've walked past their clamor, their glittering traps, and found nothing there. They beg for sense where sense is dead. I need no such crutch. Let them run. I stand still, alone, perhaps, but whole. My worth is not their cheer, but my refusal to bow. Love in this void is no soft dream. It burns, it cuts, it fades. I've felt its weight and called it true. Not a balm for the absurd, but a fire within it. I've loved faces, moments, the earth itself, not to save me, but to anchor me. It passes, yes. While it lasts, it is enough. Time slips, relentless and blind. Hours spill into years and I cannot hold them. I've tried, failed, learned. Tomorrow is a ghost. Yesterday, a shadow on the wall. I have this breath, this glance, this step. I've wasted days on what might be, no more. The absurd strips time bare. I fill it anyway. The world spins on, heedless. Wars flare, stars die, men vanish. I've watched it unfold, felt its indifference sink deep. Why fight it? Because I can. I've planted my feet in this chaos, said yes to its silence. Not for answers, but for the act itself. The absurd is my stage. I play my part. Suicide tempts the weary. End the question, still the noise. I've stood at that brink, weighed its pull, and walked away. To die is to surrender. To live is to rebel. I choose the harder road, not for glory, but for the stubborn pulse in my chest. The absurd asks, why go on? I answer, because I am here. Beauty and despair walk hand in hand. I've seen them twine in dusk's glow, in a friend's last wave. I do not split them apart. The world is both, and I take both, not as truth, but as life. I've wept under skies too vast, smiled at stones too small. They are mine, absurd or not. You are not meant to understand. You are meant to live. I've sought meaning in books, in faces, in the wind's howl, found none that holds. Good. The search was the point. I've shed the need for why, kept the will to be. The absurd frees me, not to solve it, but to dance with it. Rebellion is quiet, it needs no shout. I've built it in small acts, a step taken, a breath held, a no to despair. The world turns cold, empty, vast. I turn back with warmth, with presence, with fire. Not to win, but to be. That is my victory, small and vast. Death will erase me, my name, my marks, my echoes. I've faced that truth in mirrors, in graves, in nights too still. Let it come. I've lived against it, not to cheat it, but to fill the space before it. Each day I steal from its grip is a day I own. Joy is not an answer, it is a choice. I've snatched it from the absurd's jaws, a laugh in the rain, a hand on warm earth, a star's cold gleam. No reason justifies it. I claim it anyway. The world stays silent. I speak back with my living, my yes, my now. So I stand, not waiting, not wondering, but doing. The absurd looms, vast, mute, unyielding, and I meet it, not with fear, not with flight, but with my feet firm, My eyes open, my heart beating loud. I've walked its edge, felt its pull, defied its weight. You can too. This life is yours, not to solve, but to seize. And here, in this flicker between nothing and nothing, I am. The sea rolls, the wind cuts, the sun burns. I take them all, absurd and all. I've wrestled silence, danced with chaos, laughed at the void's stare. It offers no meaning. I make my own. Not a gift, not a curse, but a chance. One I grasp with both hands. One I live until it breaks me or I break it. This is my revolt, my beauty, my absurd and stubborn yes.